So, every day, we keep making the same suggestions about how Nigeria can be better. Every day, from the different groups, different categories of people, making the same suggestions every day to the same people about how Nigeria can be better. Which group do you belong? So, are you one of those who believe that the solution is secession, self-determination? Which group do you belong? Are you one of those who believe that a constitutional force majeure is the way to go? Which group do you belong? Are you one of those who believe that what we need is true federalism or electoral reforms, anti-corruption fight, or that our problem is religion? No, Christianity or Islam. Regardless of the group you're in, does it not bother you that every day we keep making the same complaint and the same suggestions to the same people for a better Nigeria? Does it not bother you that the more you make this suggestion to the same people, the worse things get in this country? Does it not bother you that despite the fact that we tell ourselves that we are holding Tinubu accountable, does it not bother you that there's no effect to that? He's not held accountable at all? Because what does it mean to hold accountable? Check your dictionary. I checked mine. I decided to behave like Obasanjo. These days he's been checking dictionaries. He was invited to Living Faith Church at Oyedepo's 70th birthday. He checked dictionary. He was invited to Gowon's 90th birthday. He checked dictionary. So he's been checking dictionary. And I thought to myself too, because it bothers me that the more we speak, it appears as though we're just wasting time. And so I decided to check dictionary. I tell myself that what I do here on this channel is holding the government accountable. So I decided to look up the word or the phrase holding Tinubu accountable. Am I holding him accountable? What does it mean to hold somebody accountable? It means to make the person acknowledge that they are responsible for something and bring the person to justice. Yes. Make the person pay for what they did. That's what it means to hold someone accountable. So if we put that definition into context of Nigeria or Tinubu, can anybody say that they are holding Tinubu accountable simply because they come online and they speak against Tinubu, including myself? I have done that. I don't think there's anybody who has done that as much as I have done, speak against Tinubu. But does it really mean that I am holding Tinubu accountable? From the definition of holding someone accountable, I am not. So does it not bother you that despite all of the things that we do, it appears as though the people that we say we are holding accountable, they are not being held accountable. And the better country that we seek continues to just slip through our hands. Does it not bother you? It bothers me. They say doing the same thing and expecting a different result is the basic definition of insanity, madness. I don't want to be mad. I don't want to be insane. Or at least I don't want to behave like somebody who is insane. And that's why I keep everything I do, I keep reappraising myself, appraising and reappraising. What is the effect of what I'm doing? What is the effect? So, for those of you in the different categories, we keep making the same suggestions or solutions to the same people, and they continue to ignore it. And then we continue to make the same suggestions, and they continue to ignore. But we convince ourselves that we are holding government accountable, and somehow we hope that things will be better, even when it's obvious and clear to us that the people in charge of the system simply don't want it, and they have the resources to do it. And they have weaponized poverty to achieve it. So, does it not bother you that, okay, your Biafra or your IPOB or your Oduduwa Republic or Arewa Nation, and you have been pushing for self-determination for so long, calling for referendum? Has it happened? Okay, it has not happened. It's obvious to all. What is your hope? You think it will happen with the current crop of people that we have? You know, there is no illusion that is as dangerous as self-illusion. When somebody is fooling himself, deceiving himself that he is achieving something when he's actually not, it's like the person is moving around in a spot. So a lot of action, but no work done. You cannot get Biafra the way you're going with it, about it. You cannot. A lot of the people who claim they are fighting for Biafra are simply fighting for their pockets. And when people like us come around and we make statements like this, the same people are very quick to rush to the comment and make silly comments, as though it will affect us. It won't, because the truth must be said. If we don't say it, who will? I am not against your Biafra. In fact, if I had the power, if I were president of Nigeria today, anybody that makes the mistake of mentioning secession, give us our own country, before they finish the statement, I will sign it into law. I will give them their own country. Yeah. So I'm not against your Biafra. I'm not against your Oduduwa Republic. I'm not against your Arewa. I'm not against your self-determination quest. At the end of the day, what we want is fairness for our people, good living condition, better conditions of living, better purchasing power. That's what we want. Fairness and equity. If everything was good and our leaders are treating us fairly and Nigeria was working for all Nigerians, not less than 1% of it, nobody will be complaining about secession. So there is substantial reason to call for secession, to call for self-determination. I agree with that call. In fact, if I were to have my way, I would call for a Delta country or a Niger Delta country. But the truth must be said. Who will give us a Niger Delta country? Who? Who will give you Biafra? Who? Who will give you Oduduwa country? Who? Oh, I should go and sit down. I don't know what I'm talking about. By December 2, you will declare a country and all of a sudden there will be Biafra. Okay. Continue. People like Ojukwu who knew better than you. They engaged in the first civil war. I call it the first, as if there's going to be a second. They engaged in the Nigerian Civil War. And at the end of the day, they came back and said that war is not the path to go. It only leads to destruction. Why should anybody think that they can achieve what they want through violence? It only ends in destruction of lives and property. And then at the end of it, the same people will come and start crying victim. You can't get Biafra through violence. Let's settle that. You cannot. Don't think that America will come to your aid. Don't think that UK will come to your aid. Don't think that Israel will come to your aid. You cannot get Biafra through violence. No matter how emotional or sentimental you think you are, no matter how bittered you are by reenacting the events of old, you cannot get Biafra through violence because you cannot outshoot these people. They have the backings of the Americans, of the British, of the Israelis, of the Chinese, of the Russians. They have their backing. Who do you think is sustaining Tinubu in power? You think it's the Nigerian military? Even the Nigerian military knows so well where its power starts and ends. It calls itself to order when or where the Americans and the Europeans and the British and the Russians are involved. You think we are a sovereign country? We are sovereign on paper. But our leaders, they have sold us out. And they continue to sell us out every day. Led by Tinubu, we have been sold. And the remaining parts that are not sold yet, they are still being sold. They go out every time saying they are looking for foreign direct investment. They're just looking for who will buy Nigeria. They're dancing to the tune of the IMF and the World Bank. Our military people, so many of them, trust me, are paying the ultimate price. And we must acknowledge the work that they do. But the rank and file, or the top brass of our military, they are taking care of themselves. Ever since the 1966 coup and then the 1975 coup, particularly the coup of Yakubu Gowon, our soldiers learned the hard way that they have to amass wealth for themselves. Because many don't know, and it pains me that many don't know. After Yakubu Gowon was overthrown, he was broke. He didn't have a house outside of the country, and he didn't have money stashed out. He was the president of Benin Republic. That loaned him, is it 10,000 pounds or so, that he used to go and join his wife in the UK, and they started together. Started life afresh. They learned the hard way. Ever since then, our top military brass, they've been taking care of themselves. Corruption started at that point. And of course, if you don't know, corruption was cooked, was manufactured by the IMF and the World Bank and the CIA. They manufactured corruption. So coups that have happened in Nigeria happened because they have the backings of the IMF, the World Bank, and the CIA. And so long as the IMF, the World Bank, and the CIA are behind Tinubu or behind the government of the day, you cannot overthrow these people. Except somehow, you are able to align with, some people in government are able to align with Russia. And that too is dangerous. Because that's what Sudan is suffering today. You have one, the head of the country, who's the head of the military, aligning with the West. You have the deputy head aligning with Russia and the East. So, two elephants are fighting, the grass will suffer. So if you think that you can achieve Biafra through violence, because you think you have the support of this IMF and the World Bank and the CIA people, you're lying, you're joking. You're joking. Tinubu is comfortable. You see, he doesn't even listen to Nigerians. Some people are saying he should talk to Nigerians, and then he just comes, he just reads something to you guys. And then he knows that, okay, you guys will make it a talking point. Before you know it, media houses and bloggers and online people, they jump at it and they begin to chew and make it talking points for days. He knows what he's doing. And after you talk, everything you complained about, what will Tinubu do? He will do a worse thing. Because he knows that the IMF and the World Bank are solidly behind him. So if you like, call the Nigerian military to come and do coup. They can't. They can't. Because the people that are backing Tinubu, they have the most sophisticated weapons. The other time I said that an F-35, F-22 can fly over Abuja and the Nigerian military will not know. Some people are arguing. Go and find out. Ask Iran what has happened now, what the Israeli did to almighty Iran with their F-35 fighter jets. Almighty Iran with their Beaver and even the S-300 missile defense system, air defense system. Do we have S-300 in Nigeria? Do we have missile defense system in Nigeria? S-300, S-400, S-500 do we have? Do we have the Patriots? Do we have the THAAD? We don't have. The missile defense system we have is the one that first generation, if we are in the 6th generation now. A fighter jet will fly over Abuja, fly over our military bases, and they will not know because they don't have the capacity to know. And the people who have these fighter jets, the military industrial media complex of the US-led West, they are the ones that control the IMF and the World Bank and the CIA. They are the ones that are backing Tinubu. So it's only the people that can free themselves by shining light into the activities of government. Only the people can do it. It cannot be through violence. It can only be through smarts. Through smarts. Don't fool yourself. Everywhere there has been violent overtaking or overthrow of government, now IMF and World Bank instigate them. So my point is, you cannot get Biafra through violence. Know it and no peace. And then the people that are in charge of the system right now will not give you Biafra. Don't think your enemy is the Fulanis. We're shouting, oh, Fulanization, Fulanization, when it was Buhari. And we said, oh, it's because he's a Fulani man. Now you have Tinubu. Is Tinubu a Fulani man? Why has Nnamdi Kanu not been released? The Yoruba man is not the enemy. In fact, the number one enemies, they are the Igbo leaders themselves. All the senators and House of Rep members, the state houses of assembly members, the state governors, they are the number one enemies. They are the number one obstruction to the actualization of Biafra. So if you want Biafra, start inwards. And you cannot confront these ones too with violence. We have to use sense. We have to use sense. You have been shouting constitutional reform, constitutional reform, constitutional reform. Who will give you the new constitution that you're talking about? When the likes of Tinubu and Akpabio are benefiting from the current flaws of the current constitution that we operate? When the IMF and the World Bank that are backing these people are enjoying the services that these people are delivering to them based on this flawed constitution? How? Who will give you the new constitution? You see, and that's why I think that sometimes we do the same thing and we expect a different result and we run ourselves mad. Are you not tired of making the same suggestions to the same people? And then they're not giving you the required answers and you're still making the same suggestions. Come on, think about it. Think about it. We cannot continue to expect the people in charge of the system to change the system for us. We have to change the system ourselves. And to do that is actually simple. We have a two-pronged solution. Solve the followership problem on one hand by institutionalizing social welfare, making it law. It should not depend on the whims and caprice of who is the president of the day, or who is the governor of the day, or who is the local government chairman of the day. It should not depend on their mood, on their benevolence. It should not be dependent on their largesse, on their kind-heartedness. What Nigerians get as welfare from government, it should not be. It should be law. Whether the government government of the day likes it or not, welfare should be available to every Nigerian that needs it. And the only way that can happen is by making it a law. And that is why we are calling on you and other well-meaning Nigerians to join us to force the National Assembly to pass the Food and Social Welfare Law. Pass it. Pass it. They may not be willing, but by the time they see that we are together in this, are we together in this? If we all agree, can we all agree that we need to make it a law? If we can all agree that we need to make it a law, then we'll be able to separate the chaff from the wheat. They are quick to divide us along religious lines, along ethnic lines, along political lines. They are quick to divide us with that and distract us along business lines, distract us along educational lines, along media lines, distract us along entertainment lines. They are quick to do that. But if we can defeat all these 7 tools of division and distractions, if we can defeat them and come together and unite behind this one cause to say, okay, whether you're APC or PDP or NMPP or Labour Party or whatever, can we get the National Assembly to pass the Free Food and Social Welfare Law? Yes, we can. This is what we should be pursuing. Don't let them continue to distract you with useless news. That's all they do every day. Distract Nigerians. And they fall for it. At the end of the day, what we now do is we complain to the same people and expect them to change the system. How? And that's the crux of today's video. We cannot continue to do the same thing and expect a different result. We cannot. We simply cannot. The people who are in charge of the system, they are benefiting from it. So it is not in their best interest to change it. It is not. It is up to us. And one of the 2-pronged approaches is to solve the followership problem by enacting the Food and Social Welfare Law. The second prong of the 2-pronged approach is to solve the leadership problem, to get these selfish, corrupt leaders out of the way. These leaders that have captured the state, we need to get them out of the way. How do we get them out of the way? How? We can't use the current political parties because they are enmeshed, they are weakened by corruption, enmeshed in all manner of corruption. And the very way they are structured discourages genuine Nigerians from participating. The huge nomination forms is a problem. It discourages many Nigerians. The fact that you have to spend billions and they are not sure of winning election, it's discouraging many Nigerians. It's resulting in higher and higher voter apathy. And many people do not know it. The higher the voter apathy, the easier it is for politicians to rig. And that is why they continue to do things before election that will discourage people from participating. They make it look like they have a monopoly of violence. They make it look like they have pocketed the security agencies. They make it look like, oh, they have INEC in their corner. They make it look like they have the judiciary in their corner. It's all a plan. It's all a game plan. And so by the time they do all of these things, many people are already discouraged. So they just simply walk away. They do not participate in the electoral process. And in doing that, in increasing or contributing to increasing voter apathy, they make it easier for these people to rig the elections and to perpetuate themselves in positions of power. They make it easier. So what do we do? Should we just throw our hands in the air and give up? No, far from it. We can deal with their electoral violence using thugs. We can deal with the excesses of security agencies. We can deal with the excesses of INEC, even with the Electoral Act 2022 as it is. Even if the National Assembly fails to enact the necessary amendments to the 2022 electoral law, we can check the excesses of the judiciary. We can check the excesses of the candidates and their political party. All we just need to do is come together, use our heads. That is all. That is all. And so, if we're able to sort this voter apathy thing, get people to be interested in the political process, then we'll make it more difficult for the politicians there now to rig. And how do we get people interested in the system? We need a political party where nomination forms are free. We need that kind of political party. Do we have any such now? The answer is no. Not even Showore's AAC. Not even SDP. Definitely not Labour Party. Of course, you can't even talk about PDP or APC. Those ones, they're party for the big boys. Big men, the money bags that can afford 100 million naira for nomination form. We need a party, a new political party that guarantees level playing field. And then upon that platform, we can implement all the solutions to take care of the thugs, electoral violence, take care of security agencies, take care of judiciary, take care of INEC, take care of the political candidates themselves. We can put those things in place. And once the people see this kind of party blossom, they will come and participate. And the more people we get to participate in this process, the more difficult it will be for anybody to rig. And we'll get genuine people of integrity to now continue to participate in the process. This is how we win Nigeria. This is how we get your Biafra. This is how we get your new constitution. This is how we get the electoral reforms. This is how we get true federalism. This is how we get serious anti-corruption reforms. This is how we get all the reforms that you're looking for. By getting in, opening the windows and opening the doors, opening the gate, let fresh air come in. Let's create a level playing field. This is how we win. Anything short of this, we'll be doing the same thing and expecting a different result. We'll just be running ourselves mad. And many people are doing that right now. And in the frustration, you throw in the towel and then you add to vote our party. I reject that by the special grace of God. So please, let us participate in the process. The link is in the description. Join us. Let us create this new Nigeria.